we need to talk about bunkers. Because clearly, nobody knows what they are doing. Not the wiki, not the Foxhole planner, not the Builders Union, and certainly not the guy that just built 3 Howitzer Garrisons next to each other on your bunker base. Not even the devs know what they are doing.
Always wanted to do that, just for once. So, bunker bases. A lot has changed and we're all a bit confused. So let's just start at the beginning and see if we can figure things out. Bunkers, squares, and triangles are the basic building blocks of bunkers. So let's first test their individual health. We make the squares and corners in 3 different tiers. Tier 1, 2, and 3. Grab a load of HE grenades and check our activity log. Make a note of enemy structure damage and start chugging HEs at the bunker pieces. When they are destroyed, we check the activity log again and note the enemy structure damage down again. We now simply subtract the starting value from the ending value to arrive at the total health for each bunker piece. You might think, well, does this not overestimate the health because you might do more damage to the piece than the piece has health? To which the answer is no. For instance, here with the tier 1 triangle. Currently, we have the triangle at 54% health, and we are at a damage value of 1092. Throw another HE and bring it back to 32%, a difference of about 22%, and a new damage value of 1263, which means we dealt 171 damage. After throwing one more grenade, we bring the triangle back to 9% health, a difference of about 23%, and got a damage value of 1434, which means we dealt 171 damage again. Throwing the last grenade destroys the triangle. We see that the husk has 100% health. Checking the activity log again, we have a total damage value of 1500 now. So this time we only did 66 damage. Both the 100% on the husk and the fact that this time we dealt 105 less damage shows us that the damage only gets dealt to the piece itself and does not carry over to the next state, the husk. And the activity log shows the damage done to a structure, not the total amount of damage the ordnance does. Doing this for all single pieces, we get the following results. Both tier 1 square and triangle pieces have a health pool of 750 points. Both tier 2 square and corner pieces have a health pool of 2000 points. Both tier 3 square and triangle pieces have a health pool of 3750 points. To test the health of the individual garrisons, we switched to using a Daukas ISG instead of using HE grenades. The damage output of a 30mm shell is way higher than that of an HE, which will come in handy since garrisons, unlike simple bunker pieces, are not neutral structures. So, any damage I do to them brings me into weapon restriction territory, something we try to avoid. With tier 1 garrisons, the results are as follows. The tier 1 rifle garrison has a health value of 750. The tier 1 machine gun garrison has a health of 900. The tier 1 anti-tank gun garrison has a health of 650. And the tier 1 howitzer garrison also has a health of 650. Then we move on to testing the tier 2 garrisons, which results in a couple of weapon restrictions later. The tier 2 rifle garrison has a health of 2000. The tier 2 machine gun garrison has a health of 2250. The tier 2 anti-tank gun garrison has a health of 1600. And the tier 2 howitzer garrison also has a health of 1600. Comparing these numbers to the numbers provided by the wiki and seeing they are both in agreement, I decide to take the wiki's word for the health values of the tier 3 garrisons. Any rumor suggesting I am just being lazy and don't want to deal with more weapons restrictions is nothing more than slander. So, according to the wiki, the tier 3 rifle garrison has a health of 3750, the tier 3 machine gun garrison a health of 4050, the tier 3 anti-tank garrison has 3450, and the tier 3 howitzer garrison also has a health value of 3450. With the health of individual bunker pieces and garrisons out of the way, it is time for the new kid on the block. Breachable Health. Any bunker consisting of more than one bunker piece can be breached. When a bunker piece is breached, that specific piece will collapse and allow enemy infantry to get inside the bunker. One factor in the breaching of a bunker piece is the breachable health percentage of the entire bunker complex. This can be viewed by using a build tool in upgrade mode, and a predicted value will be shown when adding or upgrading pieces onto the bunker. Whenever a bunker's health is below the breachable health percentage, any explosive, high explosive, or demolition damage done to one of its pieces has a chance to breach that piece. The lower the overall health is below the breachable health percentage, the higher the chance a piece breaches. Some special ammunition types can ignore the breachable health value altogether and always have a chance to breach a piece. That is, the 250mm Fury shell, 300mm shells, shatter missiles, and the Havoc charges. The breachable health value itself is influenced by the amount of pieces there are in a bunker and by the amount of edges it has. We can simply test for this by keeping track of the value while building a bunker. We start with a simple square piece, which does not have a breachable health value. Once we add a second square blueprint to it, we see a predicted breachable health value of plus 1%. But once we finish and check the bunker, we see a realized breachable health value of 4%. This means that this bunker's pieces only have a chance to breach once the whole structure is below 4% of its total health. Adding a second blueprint predicts plus 2% breachable health, which would mean 4 plus 2% is 6% when finished. This is indeed the case. We keep adding squares, each adding a predicted 2%, until we have a cross-shaped bunker with a breachable health of 10%, which works out to 2% per bunker piece. Now, filling in the corners with squares, we see that 2 of them add 1% and the other 2 add 2% for a total of 16% breachable health. In the dev stream, a picture was shown saying we should limit the amount of exposed edges, which we all assume are edges that are exposed to the outside, or in other words, edges that are not shared with other bunker pieces. So, looking at the large square we just dug, we have 12 exposed edges. So, let's make more dramatic shapes with a bigger difference in exposed edges to see how that affects breachable health. If we make a rectangle of 9 squares for a total of 20 exposed edges, we get a breachable health of 20%. And if we make an arrow-like shape with 9 corner pieces with only 7 exposed edges, we get a breachable health of only 15%. Or if we dig 4 squares in a rectangle for 10 exposed edges and 4 corners into a diamond shape for only 4 exposed edges, we see a halving of the breachable health from 8% to 4%. Worthy of note, though, is that the total amount of edges also plays a role. If we look at the breachable health of 5 squares in a cross shape, for example, we see a breachable health of 10% with 12 exposed edges. Digging corner pieces in, well, the corners, does lower the amount of exposed edges to 8, but brings up the breachable health to 15%. Upgrading pieces to a higher tier does not have an influence on breachable health percentage. If we upgrade a tier 1 piece to a tier 2 piece in a bunker island, we see that there is no change in predicted breachable health, nor in the realized breachable health. Same is true if we upgrade the second piece as well. The breachable health will stay at 4%. What does influence the breachable health massively, though, is the addition of garrisons, whether it's rifle, machine gun, AT, or artillery garrisons. Turning one bunker piece of a 2-piece bunker into a rifle garrison will bring the breachable health up by 10%, from 4% to 14%. Making it a machine gun garrison instead will take it up by 8% to 12%. An AT gun garrison will pump it up to 18%, an increase of 14%. And turning one of the pieces into a Howie garrison will take it to the moon. Make it a whopping 26%, an increase of 22%. The same picture we referenced earlier also says that we should avoid combining garrisons, place bunker tiles between defenses whenever possible. To see this in action, we look at a bunker with 3 square pieces, which has breachable health of 6%. Adding one rifle garrison will add 10% for a total breachable health of 16%. If we now add a second rifle garrison, but make sure there is one bunker piece between them, we see a total breachable health of 25%. If we, however, build the second rifle garrison next to the existing one, so they share an edge, we see that this has a 2% higher breachable health at 27% total. The same happens if we do this with machine gun garrisons, for instance. 20% breachable health if they are separated by a bunker piece, 22% when they share an edge. So you say, okay, sure, breachable health could be bad percentage-wise if we slap a lot of garrisons on a bunker complex. But what if we also add extra blank pieces to increase the total health pool of that bunker complex? And that brings us to the next topic, the shared health pool. Earlier, we only tested the individual health of the different bunker pieces and garrisons. To see what happens when we combine different bunker pieces and garrisons into one bunker complex or island, we first look at what the developers themselves have to say. The year is 2019.
But how it works is you can combine these segments to form a monolithic structure, and basically these monolithic structures will share a health pool, right? So if you build like four bunker pieces, it'll take the health of all four of those bunker pieces and it'll combine it. But there is a trade-off, because we don't want people to just be like, hey, the optimal strategy is to just make this thing as
gigantic bunker.
Huge bunker. So there's like a structural integrity mechanic, and basically your structural integrity will go down with each segment that you add. So we'll let players figure out what the optimal point for them is. So basically you can add to your bunker, which adds more hit points, but there's an overall structural integrity factor that going to lower, and this is going to be unique on every structure type.
What does structural integrity affect?
It basically it's a factor in determining the final health calculation of that structure.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
So it's not a simple add.
Yeah, so you're adding more, but the more you add, the overall multiplier starts to go down. But the multiplier is not the same for every structure. It can be different.
As we heard, combining bunkers will combine their health, but at a cost. The cost is known as structural integrity and is a multiplier. And that multiplier will go down the more pieces you add. Knowing a bit of maths, we can figure out that this means that the structural integrity will be a number below 1. Taking a look over at our friends on the wiki will give us an updated list of the structural integrity of all pieces. And we can see that indeed basically all structural integrity modifiers are numbers below 1. To figure out the total health of our bunker islands, we can now add up all the health points of the individual pieces for the base amount of health, multiply all structural integrity modifiers associated with the individual pieces with each other to get the total structural integrity modifier, and then multiply the total health with the total structural integrity modifier to get the shared health pool of the bunker. An example. We dig 2 square bunker pieces next to each other. To get the base amount of health, we add up the health of both pieces. 750 plus 750 is 1500. To get the total structural integrity, we'll multiply 0.97 by 0.97, which is 0.94. And that will make the total health 1500 times 0.94 is 1411. Using the method we used in the beginning, we can check our calculated result with the real value. We check our activity log, make a note of our enemy structure damage, start chucking HEs at the bunker complex until it is destroyed, and check our enemy structure damage again. We then subtract the starting value from the end value and get a total health for the 2 tier 1 square bunkers of 1546? But that's higher than the sum of its parts. That should not be possible. Let's check the patch notes. Structural integrity has been renamed Breachable Health. Well, our breachable health for this complex is 4%, so I'm going out on a limb here and assume that they mean that it is the inverse of structural integrity. So in this case, that would be 96%. Which also doesn't work because 1500 times 0.96 is 1440. So let's check the wiki again. We forgot to take into account the structural integrity bonus. According to the wiki, the structural integrity is equal to the product of the multiplier of each bunker piece in the network plus a compactness bonus. This compactness bonus is equal to 0.15 times A divided by B, where A is the number of edges that are not touching the exterior and not between 2 touching bunker garrisons, while B is the total number of edges in the bunker network. See the illustration below. So, this compactness bonus is a bonus that gets added to the structural integrity. In this instance, we have 1 good edge on a total of 7 edges, which would make the structural integrity bonus 0.15 times 1 divided by 7 is 0.021. Adding that bonus to our structural integrity of 0.9409 is 0.96. Basically the same result as taking the inverse of the breachable health value. So that doesn't work either. Maybe we can use the predicted max health value that appears when you start digging another piece on the bunker complex. Rolling back the clock to where we place the second square, we get a predicted max health of plus 98%. The first square has a health of 750, so multiplying that by 1.98 gives us 1485. Closer, still wrong. Okay, forget about the actual calculation. Let's see if we at least can find the effect of limiting the amount of exposed edges, as mentioned in the dev stream, or the compactness bonus mentioned on the wiki. We dig a combination of a square and a triangle, which should have one exposed edge less, and test its health, which is also 1546. So let's try 2 triangles for 2 edges less, which comes out to also 1546. Maybe that's not enough difference. Let's dig a rectangle out of 4 squares for 10 exposed edges and a breachable health value of 8. Test its health and get a result of 2920. We then dig a square out of 4 corner pieces with 4 exposed edges for only half the breachable health, 4%. Test its health and also get 2920. Okay, so apparently the bonus, or malus, for exposed edges only applies to breachable health and not the total health. Let's check the effect of garrison placement on total health, since the garrisons have relatively low structural integrities. We start by simply digging a bunker consisting of 2 bunker pieces, one of which will be upgraded to a rifle garrison. Their total health, not accounting for structural integrity, will be 750 for the blank piece, plus 750 for the rifle garrison, which is 1500. The total structural integrity will be 0.97 for the blank piece, times 0.86 for the rifle garrison, which is 0.83. So the total health will be in the realm of 1500 times 0.83 is 1251. Or, if we use the numbers the game gives us when upgrading to the rifle garrison, minus 11% on the total health of the 2 blank squares, which, as we tested earlier, have a combined health of 1546. So 1546 minus 11% is 1376. Blowing up our little bunker, we arrive at a total health value of 1365, which is very close to what the game predicted. And we should take into account that the minus 11% is a rounded value, so there is quite some wiggle room. We repeat the same test, but this time with a Howitzer Garrison attached, since that has the lowest structural integrity modifier of all garrisons, 0.74. So the total structural integrity is 0.97 times 0.74 is 0.72. The total health is 750 for the blank piece, plus 650 for the howitzer piece, is 1400. The combined health, therefore, would be in the realm of 1400 times 0.72 is 1005. Or using the in-game prediction again, which predicts a reduction of 28% in total health, so a 28% decrease from 1546 is 1113. We shoot down our little bunker and arrive at a health value of 900? My god. Let's see if we can get a clearer result for the effects of having 2 garrisons next to each other. We simply dig 3 square bunker pieces and upgrade 2 of those bunker pieces to a garrison. One where we put a blank piece in between the garrisons, and in the other configurations, the garrisons will be side by side. The configuration with a blank piece between the 2 rifle garrisons gets a breachable health of 25%. Remember, garrisons have a big effect on breachable health, and after destroying it with our ISG, we found out that it has a total health of 1800. The configuration with 2 rifle garrisons next to each other gets penalized by an extra 2% of breachable health at 27% breachable health. Shooting this combination down results in a total health value of also 1800? Let's see if there is a more pronounced difference in health when doing this with howitzer garrisons. So we make a 3-piece bunker with a howitzer garrison on each flank with a blank piece in between. A configuration that has a breachable health of a whopping 44%. We blow it up and arrive at a health value of 1200. Make another 3-piece bunker, this time with 2 howitzer garrisons next to each other and the blank piece on the flank. A build that adds another percent to the breachable health for a total of 45% breachable health. Blow this one up and calculate the health of 1227 every fucking time. Fuck this shit. I'm out. No, wait, I'm not out yet. The fact that neither the wiki nor the game itself seem to be accurate in predicting the health or breachable health values does not mean there are no takeaways. 1. Breachable health is not a factor to be ignored. Sure, you can add more health to the total health pool, but having a breachable health of 70% of a bunker with 20,000 HP means that after 6,000 damage has been dealt to that bunker, all the pieces are already at risk of being breached. which on tier 2 bunker pieces comes down to only about 10 150mm artillery shells. 2. Structural integrity is a silent killer. As we can see here in the footage kindly shared by Jason aka Gecko, where a humongous storm cannon bunker complex gets destroyed. Not breached, destroyed, by a single 68mm shell shot by a nemesis. From a reliable source, I know that this entire complex consisted of more than 90 bunker pieces. For the sake of argument for now, we're going to ignore bonuses and maluses. A bunker complex consisting of 90 blank tier 3 pieces would have a health of 90 times 3,750, 337,500 health points. The structural integrity for such a complex with blank pieces would be 0.97 to the power of 90, which is 0.0645. So, at best, the total health for a complex like that would be 337,500 times 0.0645 is 21,764. Once we start factoring in the garrisons, we can see it go down even faster. On the footage, I can identify on the same bunker island as the storm cannon, 2 rifle garrisons, 3 machine gun garrisons, 3 anti-tank gun garrisons, 6 howitzer garrisons, 1 bunker base, and obviously 1 storm cannon. That is a minimum of 16 bunker pieces that have way lower structural integrity than blank pieces. So let's plug in those numbers. For this calculation, we will steelman everything again by using the values for tier 3, whether they are tier 3 or not. 74 blank pieces for 74 times 3,750 and 1 storm cannon for 2,250 health points. This adds up to 333,950 health points total. For structural integrity, we get 0.97 to the power of 74 is 0.1049. Times 0.7 times 0.65 is a total structural integrity of 0.00225. So the total health of this bunker complex, including the garrisons we could spot on the footage, is 333,950 times 0.00225 is 753 health points. And this is the most favorable calculation of the shared health pool. No wonder it got shot down by a single 68mm shell. 3. Howitzer garrisons should be used sparingly and placed intelligently. To illustrate this, here is a bunker complex consisting of 2 howitzer garrisons next to each other. They have a breachable health of 45%. Shooting this complex with 30mm shells will take it down in 3 shots. The total health of this is 896. Here is a bunker complex consisting of 3 howitzer garrisons next to each other. They have a breachable health of 59%. Shooting this complex with 30mm shells will take it down in 3 shots. The total health of this is 900. Here is a bunker complex consisting of 4 howitzers next to each other. They have a breachable health of 70%. Shooting this complex with 30mm shells will take it down in 3 shots. The total health of this is 896. 4. The game's predicted values and the wiki's formula might not be perfectly accurate. They are still very good indicators of issues your bunker build might have. Using the simple total health times total structural integrity modifier to gauge a bunker's health pool is still going to be extremely useful. And so are the predicted decreases in health and increases in breachable health provided by the game's upgrade information. Finally, if somebody cracks the code on the formula that describes the total health and total breachable health on bunker complexes, please inform the people over at the wiki so the information can be shared with everyone. And then, as per usual, a big thank you to DMD for assisting me in some of the testing. To the guys over at the wiki for plowing through heaps of changes every update and trying to keep the wiki up to date. And finally, of course, a big thank you to Crowd9er for lending a hand in some of the tests and lending his thoughts on some of the results. Also, a big fuck you to Crowd9er for sharing some of the most horrific bunker designs in the current live war with me.